You're listening to the Bearded Theologians podcast, hosted by Zach Bechtold and Matt Franks. If you'd like to learn more about the Bearded Theologians, you can go online at beardedtheologians.com, where we have past podcasts, blogs, and a couple items for sale. So check us out, beardedtheologians.com. Thank you for listening, and enjoy this week's show. You're listening to the Bearded Theologians podcast, hosted by Matt Franks
and Zach Bechtold. And today we have a very special podcast, quarantine podcast for you, if you will. We have friend of the podcast, Heather Abreu, who is art teacher extraordinaire, with us today. And she's going to teach us how to do something. I'm not quite sure what we're doing today.
It's a surprise.
Yes. It's going to be something. No, it's great. Heather, thanks for being with us. And why don't you tell us a little bit just about yourself, who you are, where you're from, those types of things.
Absolutely. So again, Heather Abreu, and I'm originally from California, moved to Colorado about 3 years ago and started working as an art teacher in the public school system. Before that, I was a mom, loved doing art since I was a little kid, got a BA in theater of all things. So I think that's why it works out well to be an educator, because half the time it's just, keeping the kids interested and then maybe also teaching them things. And then, so this has been a really interesting couple of weeks as we're like at home, and I'm still trying to make sure that my kids aren't going crazy and that my students have some art content to dig into. And now you guys are excited to draw with me. So I'm to be with you.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for being with us. And I guess we'll just dive right into the art.
Sweet. So I had two things that I wanted to do with you today. The first one is to just help you guys loosen up a little bit, because nerve-wracking it is to try something that you haven't done in a while or haven't done at all. So the first thing we're going to do is called a continuous line piece of art. And the challenge for you two today, as for some of the listeners, is that you don't get to look down at your paper when you do this, and you don't get to pick up your pencil. So the challenge I'm going to give you right now, and I'm going to do the same thing, is I'm going to put my pencil down on the paper, and I'm going to ask you guys just to think something you want to try and draw right now. What can you think of?
It's my office. Oh, shoot. What? We're on a podcast, right? Why not a microphone?
Okay, ready? So you're not allowed to look down, and you're not allowed to pick up your pencil. And I love to see you both right now, so you don't get to do it. Are you ready? Down, looking up or away, and then do your best to continue that line to create the microphone. So I'll talk us through it as we're doing it. First, I'm going to kind of create that circle at the top, and then without looking, I'm going to travel down to create that column that holds the top of the microphone. Now here comes the fun part. I could add a microphone switch in the middle by just kind of moving my pencil over there. I'm going to then try my best to add a chord at the very bottom as I travel back down. And then when you feel like you're finished, go ahead and take a look down and see how you did.
Par for the course. Yes.
Yes. Fantastic. Mine's interesting. And that's the whole point of this continuous line drawing, is just to have some fun putting the pencil down and not caring what really happens, but enjoying a good laugh as you look at it and go, so draw that better looking at it.
I mean, that's what it looks like.
I'm so glad. Thank you for sharing.
I mean, I tried.
Your chord's so good.
That's why she's the art teacher.
Again, I've had so much fun practicing like this. It's great. So now, you guys have an advantage now, because I'm now going to teach you how to draw something, and I've kind of
perfect
space behind me so that you can see it as we do it. So I thought it'd be really fun with the two of you if we drew one of our favorite things, because something that we got to do the last time we saw each other was just grab a cup of beer together. Yeah. So I figure a cup is fun and simple. It's really two ovals and two lines is all that it is. So we're going to start at the tippy top, and I'm using a Sharpie right now for those of you who are listening, just to make sure that my viewers can see it. But as you guys are listening, just keep in mind that we're doing two ovals. The bigger oval is going to be on the top. So I'm going to the top of my paper, and I'm going to draw a big oval at the top of my paper. With that, I'm going to travel down bringing my pencil down without making a mark, and make a smaller oval underneath that one. So right now it just looks like I've got two holes in my paper, right? One bigger one at the top and one smaller one at the bottom. Now, this is where beer cups can get fancy. You can make them curved on the sides. You can just make it one of those nice tall pint glasses. It's really up to you. You can add a handle. But for the sake of today, I'm going to have us go fancy, but not too fancy. We're going to start at the top left-hand corner of the top oval, and I'm going to bring it down and curve it in about halfway down. I'm going to do the same thing on the right-hand side, where I'm going to touch my pencil to the right-hand side of the top oval, bring it down and curve it in just like I did on the other side. So we're kind of mirroring what we're doing on both sides. Now I'm going to bring this down and connect it to the bottom oval on the left-hand side. So starting where I had left off, I'm pulling it down and connecting it to the bottom oval. And then the same thing at the top here on the right-hand side, I'm going to bring that line down and connect it to the bottom oval. Now, I'm not able to erase the Sharpie that I'm messing with, you guys. So if you didn't like something that you drew, if it's kind of lopsided, you can go back and erase it. I cannot. That's permanent right there. So with that, we've got a cup. Do you guys feel good about what you drew so far?
Well, it's a shape.
It's an interesting perspective of the cup.
I was gonna say, if you got two ovals and two lines, you've done what I asked you to do.
Perfect.
It doesn't have to look like mine. You've done what I've asked you to do. Now with that, we're gonna add some beer on the inside, which is super fun. With pencil, it is so much more fun because you can add the texture of the foam on, of the head on top and maybe some bubbles in your beer. It'll look way less stark than mine. But I'm gonna come around here and I'm gonna decide where the top of my beer sits. And I'm gonna pull a line from the right-hand side, curve it just a little bit like the top of my cup, and pull it over to the left-hand side. So that's showing you where the top of my beer is gonna be, right? And then with that, I'm gonna also create just a little bit of a line that curves around the backside as well to give that three-dimensional look. So at this point, now we've got an oval on the bottom, an oval on the top, and an oval that's almost to the top to show that there's some liquid hanging out in this cup. Are you seeing it? How are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Okay, good. I always make the joke that when my kindergartners are really quiet, they're doing something that they shouldn't be. So like, you guys aren't eating something, right, that you're not supposed to be. There is no glue at your table that you're eating. Okay, so anyway, so there we go. So the fun part now is to kind of create the foam on top and maybe some bubbles down below. So you can kind of add some bubbles in there, show the carbonation that's happening. You can even kind of pull some contour lines around one side to give it kind of a shadow to show like, hey, this is the front of the cup. And then on top with a pencil is super fun, where you can just kind of start doing some swirls to show that there's some head on top of the beer. With that, we call this scrumbling. So if you learned nothing today from drawing with me, you've learned one coloring technique that I'm sure everybody uses all the time, but the technical term is scrumbling.
Scrumbling?
Scrumbling, isn't that weird? It's like,
weird.
How astrologers get to decide the names of stars. Well,
right.
Somebody somewhere decided, I'm gonna name this, and called it scrumbling.
It's also another name for preaching.
Oh. So, and the nice part about practicing drawing is you could try it once and decide something that you don't like and change it up for next time. I am not a fan of the contour lines that I added to my beer because it's in Sharpie. So it's really, really dark and really stark, and I don't feel like adds to my drawing. And then something I always tell my students is don't draw in marker first. And they always do. And I don't understand why, because I'm like, if you mess up, and you can't fix it then. I mean, there's always happy little accidents that you can like cover up with more marker, but you can't take away something that you've added. So I'm always a fan of pencil first. That way, if you mess up, you could try again. All right, you guys have been watching my fun. How's it going over there? I still haven't gotten to see anything that you've drawn.
You don't want to see it.
No, that's not the truth. Let's take a look here. Yes! Yes! This is awesome. You know, this is also great because, like, the shape of beer glass that we made, it kind of resembles, I feel like, the chalice for communion as well.
Right.
So if you didn't have beer in that cup, you could use the same shape, draw yourself out a nice little symbol for Sunday.
I like that.
This is bad. This is just bad. It's getting worse.
You know, what I love is that kids don't mind saying whatever they're thinking in their head about what they're doing. They'll just say it out loud. I have some kiddos who are just, they're their worst enemies when it comes to the artwork that they're making. And no matter how many times I tell them, I was like, you did such a great job. Here's something that you did well. Maybe here's something you can change. And they just look at it and they go, yeah, sure, Mrs. Abreu. All right, fine.
That's so much fun. Well, and kids are so, even when they get in their heads like that, they're so creative still, and are willing to see things.
Right. Well, and I think with adults, the thing is with kids is that everybody's got this creativity bottled up inside of them. But as far as knowing how to let it out and what to share and how to share it, one of my biggest frustrations as an artist is I've got this picture in my head of exactly what I want something to look like. And then when I go to do it, I don't have the technical skills to execute it the way that I see it in my head.
Right.
And so it's just the understanding of art is a skill or a practice of how to get your creativity out. And that can be through drawing, it can be through singing, like whatever it is, but it takes practice.
Mine keeps looking, the more and more I keep trying to draw a different one, it looks more like a bottom of a middle-aged man's leg.
So I'm going to challenge you then. It does not have to be a beer cup. You go ahead.
And just draw the rest of it. Like draw the
just draw.
leg.
Yep.
Just draw the leg.
Yep.
The shoe.
Now it's just an anatomy drawing, and that's fantastic too. So I'm going to tell you what we call the 75% rule. And I work at like a paint and sip place as well as I'm an art teacher. And at the paint and sip place, we tell adults all the time when they're painting with us, there's a rule called the 75% rule. And when you feel like you are 75% satisfied with the step that you just did, stop, put your paintbrush down, move on. Because when you sit there and you're like, no, I can get this a little better. Oh, I'm going to shoot for 85, 93% satisfied that you are going to make that one mistake with paint or with a Sharpie or whatever and just go, oh, well, I messed that up, and you got to start all over again. So notice I've stopped drawing because I don't know if my cup's going to get any better right now.
That's such a good permission too, right? Because even with any kind of art, whether it's painting or drawing or music or whatever, there's always tinkering, right?
Yeah,
and
always.
At some point we get past what the art actually was and into something that it's not.
Which is great, which if you're going to take that creative avenue and then say, okay, well, I'm going to spend a couple more minutes turning it into that new thing that it turned into, great. Mm-hmm. There's no judgment there. It's completely up to each person.
Right. I dig that. We need that permission sometimes, right?
Okay, so
most of the time. We need that reminder. Yes! That is so awesome. I am so glad that you did not follow my directions and that you did what you wanted. That is perfect.
It just kept getting worse. Like the cup just kept getting worse and worse. Like that's really looking like the bottom half of my leg. And so I'll change it from a beer cup to a middle-aged man's leg.
That's awesome. I think you did a very, very good job on that shoe as well. That is not something that I have ever practiced drawing. So the fact that you can churn out a shoe like that, power to you. That's awesome.
It's fun. See, now I keep tinkering with my phone right here. That's so much fun. So how has it been teaching, doing these videos? Because you've set up a channel in the last week. Yep. How has it been interacting with students and people through your channel?
So as of right now, I've had the YouTube channel up for about a week, and both of my girls are helping me with it. So they're my camera people and my assistants, and like an example next to me of someone who's learning along with me. And we've been posting it on Facebook and Instagram, which, you know, gets my friends and anyone who's related to me, like they get to see the girls right now and us tinkering and having fun. And then I posted it on our school website. So for the elementary school, in case kids wanted to participate. Technically, we've had a 3-week spring break is the way our district handled it, with just needing to make sure that everyone's safe and everyone's at home. But next week is our technical end of spring break and moving into digital learning with the kids. So I'm hoping that all the videos I've created on the YouTube channel can be passed around to any classroom that's digitally working on things. It can be kind of a brain break for the kids, or a way for them to just engage for 30 minutes with drawing and origami are the 2 focuses that we've got right now. And then I'm hoping that I can continue to make fun videos. I've been recording some art-focused books that are kind of art history meets art projects via like iMovie, and recording my voice over it to just give students something else that they can do if they want a creative avenue and they can't think of anything else to, because being at home now for 2 weeks, like I'm having a hard time coming up with creative things for myself to do, let alone to do for the videos.
Right. Yeah, no, I dig that. That's really, really awesome. And what a fun way to not only pass the time, but keep people engaged, whether it's through the school avenue or just as families, right? Because I think families are in the same place. We have exhausted all of the things we do.
Yep.
And and this is gonna, I was gonna keep going. You know, we're going to be doing this for a while. So to have you creating these opportunities for people to gather together for a variety of reasons is really cool.
Yeah, I'm actually really thankful that I can be at home and I have the resources that I can continue to do this with my kids and for my students, and just put out some positivity into the world too. No, there's so much going on in the media, and just everything that's happening around the world feels so heavy. And so being able to just build up some consistency in our day, where we know we have to get up, we have to shower, we have to get dressed because we're doing this video every day, and being able to just have some fun and laugh and be creative is definitely something I look forward to every morning when I get up. And I'm hoping, at least the feedback I'm hearing from friends and family, is that they're really enjoying it along with us, whether they're creating it or just tuning in to watch some creativity take place. I'm in the same boat where I don't know how to blow glass, but I've been watching people on YouTube just create these beautiful things. And I definitely don't have the ability to get my hands on that and do it right now, but getting to watch that creativity is inspiring. And again, gives me a mental and emotional break from what we're dealing with and what the world's dealing with.
Absolutely. Well, you know, if you look around what's on TV, you know, right now, it's baking cakes and pastries, the show Making It. I love watching Making It. Partly it's a good feel-good show, but I love watching people do these things that I can't do, right? You know, and it's such a variety of just people putting their heart and soul into stuff just to bring some goodness into this world and positivity. And like you said, we need more than ever.
Yep, I feel it. I so feel it.
Well, and I think that's the fun thing with art, is that it allows you to, like, it's not really ever finished. It's something that you're continually working on. And so, like, while you may put the drawing down or the piece of art down, when you come back to doing a new canvas, you may attempt to do something similar, but like, you know, like, I didn't like what I did this time, so I'm going to adjust. And, you know, and that's one of the beauties, that's one of the fun things about it, whether it's like, as kind of a former musician, you know, I never played a piece the same way twice. And I would always try to, you know, do something different. It's kind of the same with sermons. I don't preach the same sermon twice because it's an art form. And so I'm always, you know, tinkering with my style. And I know, like, I don't want to speak for Zach, but I know for like me right now, facing a sanctuary that's normally like filled with about 100 to 150 people, just bare and empty, you almost have to get creative on how you handle things. Like, you tell a joke and nobody laughs. And it's like, how do you, like, you've got to build that in for you. And, you know, there is a sense of routine in that. And, you know, and that's where, like, having things like this, being able to connect in, whether it's, you know, through YouTube or, you know, all the other mediums that are out there, it's a great way to access some things that maybe we wouldn't get to do. Cause I know in like a lot of public schools, art
is not necessarily a high, like, it's usually not on available, but to have something available where a parent or grandparent can show their child to say, hey, do that, like, follow this person, like do what they're telling you to do. Might be helpful for 5 minutes while you can keep them at bay for 5 minutes, but you got that 5 minutes and they created something special.
Right.
That's just a great opportunity and an outlet for you to keep up on your craft of doing what you do. But then also to provide a space for people who may not have that ability is kind of amazing in its own right.
Yeah. And just giving yourself permission to be in a space, have a pencil in your hand, to pick up some paint and just play, express, like whatever you need in that moment as well. I fully believe that art is meant to be shared and art is meant to be consumed, but also like in a weird way, art is meant to be selfish also, so that you can recenter yourself. You can express what's going on with yourself. You can just get your frustrations out. Like, it's okay to just spend that time doing it. And even as we're sitting here and each of you are taking a turn with talking to me, like you both are zoning back in on that.
It's ridiculous.
I love it. This is what it's about. Like, we're getting to have community together and talk, but also just like, you're just allowing yourself to have that space, to have that time to just tinker, to play, to create, to mess up. There's so many times in life, especially working with little kids, where we have to teach them what to do when they mess up, or we have to encourage them not to mess up. But at the same time, it's okay to fail miserably at a drawing. It's okay to make a mistake and decide, I'm not doing that again next time. I'm doing it differently, whether it be in life, in relationships, in artwork.
Mm-hmm.
It's so fun to just sit and watch you guys draw. You make me feel like a really good teacher right now. And that's simply because you both are engaged, and it has nothing to do with my abilities as an artist or yours.
No, you did great.
Yes, look at that. That's fantastic.
So I was just trying to draw, I don't know, I was trying to complete the man, but in a reverse different direction.
It's very cubist. He's compartmentalized. It's great.
Well, it is so much fun. And like you said, it's so freeing just to allow yourself to have that space to go, I'm going to put something on paper. I'm going to put something on canvas. I'm going to put something somewhere and see what happens. Because we don't have that space often in our lives, especially as adults. We may have that space. We just don't give it to ourselves.
Yeah. Again, it comes back to that permission. Someone granting you permission. I do my students all the time. I'm like, it's okay to mess up. It's okay to just sit there and tinker. So long as you're focused, so long as you're creating something, that's the goal. That's the key. And building that in is practice and routine.
Right.
Building that in is something that you're just allowed to do.
Yeah.
Expect yourself to do on a daily basis.
Right. No, I love it. Thank you for giving us that permission today.
Yes. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. This is definitely something different. And those of you who are listening to the podcast, we would encourage you to check out the YouTube channel to follow along exactly what we're doing and actually seeing what we're doing. And like, you'll see how great 2 out of the 3 are, and I'll let you decide which one was not the good one.
Don't use Sharpie, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I'm saying. Don't use Sharpie. Use a pencil.
I hope you don't have I hope when you pull it off, it didn't bleed through. And
see, so this is the art teacher in me right here. I put 2 pieces of paper.
There you go.
Just in case.
I'll just say this. Some of us drew pint glasses. Others of us drew a leg and a shoe.
I feel like we're starting a Dr. Seuss book right now.
Yes. In this episode, we'll also give a link to Heather's videos as well, so that you can connect in. And we'd encourage you to follow and subscribe to her page because that helps her. And and for those of you that are listening that are Heather's friends, we'd like for you to subscribe to our page as well. And so, Heather, we thank you for your time, and you're always welcome back to the Beardcast and to teach us something new in the future, because obviously this is going to be a long haul, and we need to do this again just to help us feel a little bit better.
Well, and I love so much that you invited me, and I always learn something new spending time with you guys, whether it's just listening or getting to spend time with you in person. So I'm just thankful for the both of you, and I'm excited to draw with you again. So whether it's joining me on YouTube or doing some more Zoom with me, just let me know.
Yeah, that'd be great. So we want to encourage you to check out our website at beardedtheologians.com and check out all of our great content and all the things that we've got going. we know that you don't have a whole lot going on at home, and so feel free just to start at season 1 and watch the growth of Zach and I these last 4 years. It's amazing how much our waistlines have grown over these last few years. And the hair is getting grayer, and the hairline has disappeared. But it's been a good time. And so we want to encourage you to take some time for yourself. Go outside and draw, socially stay safe. Socially distance yourself, make sure that you wash your hands. But, take up some art and whatever that means for you, whether it's photography, play some music, or, I was thinking about breaking out my clarinet later today, actually taking my clarinet back from my daughter and playing it myself. So
that's awesome.
But encourage you to do some artful things, because you'll find some creativity in that, and it will also help you de-stress in this season. So for the Bearded Theologians, I'm Matt Franks.
I'm Zach Bechtold. Thanks for checking us out. Thank you for listening to the Bearded Theologians podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share on all social media outlets. You can check out old episodes and more information at beardedtheologians.com. Thanks for checking us out.